Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Please have a seat. Have a seat. Thank you so much. Oh, well, thank you. Good to be in New York City. Let me begin by acknowledging some very, very special guests. Dr. Richardson, thank you. Charlie Rangel, for your outstanding work on behalf of your constituents. Mayor David Dinkins. Governor David Patterson is here. State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli, excuse me. This is another one that's hard to pronounce, Stevie Wonder. Martin Luther King III. All the Keepers of the Dream honorees with us tonight, and the National Action Network. It is wonderful to be here as you celebrate your 20th anniversary. Some things have changed a lot since 1991. I told Reverend Al backstage, he's getting skinnier than me. He's getting skinnier than Spike. But he hasn't lost his sense of style. The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight. I want to commend you for the work that you've done over the last 2 decades to lift up not only the African American community, but the broader American family. That's what you're about. The last time I came was in April of 2007, 4 years ago this month. Back then I had fewer supporters. Most of you couldn't pronounce my name, so Tom, don't feel bad. I had a lot fewer gray hairs. I was looking at some pictures. I looked really young back then. I said that we were facing extraordinary challenges in this country, but that what was stopping us from solving them wasn't a lack of policies, it wasn't a lack of plans. What was stopping us was a broken politics. A broken politics in Washington, a politics that was all about the next election instead of the next generation. It was all about what we disagreed about instead of what we had in common. A politics that made us cynical about our ability to change this country. And I said that if you stand with me and believe in what we can do together, if you do what civil rights groups like the National Action Network have always done, if you put your shoulder to the wheel of history, then we can move this country towards the promise of a better day. I told you at the time, I wasn't a perfect person, I wouldn't be a perfect president, but what I could commit to is always telling you the truth, even when it was hard, and that I would spend each and every day thinking about you. And because you made our campaign your own, because you believed in our ability to shape our own destiny, we won that chance to bring about real change. And I said on inauguration night in Chicago that that was simply the end of the beginning. And that now the real business started, because I didn't run, and so many of you didn't support me just to win an election. We won the election so that we could then actually get moving on all the work that had been left undone. Even though we understood, of course, the magnitudes of the challenges we face, we didn't fully realize until late in the game, probably the last month of the campaign, that we would be facing the worst recession in generations. A recession that was leaving millions of Americans without a home, without a job, without hope for the future. And as Reverend Al said, some folks have amnesia about this. Where are we 2 years later? Our economy has started to grow again. The recovery is gaining momentum. People are finally starting to get hired back. We had to make some tough choices in between. You remember when we decided we had to move to save the American auto industry, and everybody said, that can't happen. And then 2 weeks ago, GM just announced that it's going to hire back every single worker that has been laid off, and every U.S. automaker is making a profit. But that wasn't popular. That wasn't popular. A while back, I visited a small trucking business, and its owner, Stephen Neal, is one of our country's African-American business leaders, and he told me that because of the uptick in our economy, he was buying new equipment and adding more workers. And that's what's happening all across America. In the first 3 months of this year, we've added nearly 500,000 private sector jobs, nearly 2 million jobs in the last 13 months. So we're making progress, but we're not there yet. And I want you to know that so long as there are Americans who cannot find work, I will be fighting for jobs, and so long as the gap between the wealthiest few and everybody else keeps on growing, I will be fighting for opportunity, and I know you'll be right there alongside with me. We are going to keep fighting until every family gets a shot at the American dream. That's our North Star. That's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. That's the last thing I think about when I go to bed at night. The hopes and dreams of people who work hard every single day, look after their families, take care of their responsibilities, and just need a little bit of help to make it. Now, there are Americans of all colors and creeds who are struggling to live out those dreams today. That's part of what our campaign was about, was reminding ourselves that everybody is in this together. Now, what's also true, though, is the unemployment rate for African Americans is almost double what it is for other groups. It's also true that those with the least have been sacrificing the most during this recession. What's also true is that even before the recession hit, too many communities were marked by structural inequalities in health and education and employment that made it profoundly difficult for too many people to get ahead. You understood that, I understood that. That's part of the reason I ran for president, because I've seen the frustration and the wounded pride in the eyes of folks who've lost their jobs, or a father who has to go home and tell his kids that, we might not have enough this month. We might be losing our apartment this month. I've heard the stories of struggling families who are doing everything right and still at the end of the month don't quite have enough to pay the bills. I did not start hearing those stories when I became president. Those are stories that led me to run for president in the first place. As Reverend mentioned, I got my start tackling the problems of joblessness and hopelessness that afflict so many of our cities and rural communities. I got my start working to bring opportunity to neighborhoods that were full of boarded up houses and shuttered stores, fighting to keep kids off the street, fighting to get them into school, fighting to make sure that they went on to college, fighting to make real the promise of justice in our judicial system. And these causes of justice and equality and opportunity, they aren't just what led me into politics, they're what led ordinary people to sit down at the front of the bus to cross that bridge in Selma, to heed a king's call to perfect our union. They're the heart of what makes us Americans. That's who we are. And because of your support, they're the causes that I've been carrying since I've been in the Oval Office. With the help of folks at the grassroots, we passed historic health insurance reform that will not only extend coverage to 30 million more Americans and give Americans more affordable choices, but will narrow the cruel health disparities between African Americans of different backgrounds. That was because of your work. We passed Wall Street reform that will protect consumers from the kind of predatory lending practices that helped cause this recession. We're rewarding work with an expanded earned income tax credit. We're tackling poverty with promised neighborhoods that build on the great work of Jeffrey Canada up in Harlem. We're making sure our civil rights and anti-discrimination laws are enforced. And if you're interested in learning more, if you want to spread the word about what we're doing, not just in the African American community, but all across the country, go to our website. And it will give you a long list of what we've done over the last 2 years. Promises made and promises kept. That's what we tried to do over these past couple of years. Advance the causes that make us who we are. But we've still got more work to do.